Good evening. We're going to start the meeting for July the 18th. We'll have to call to order. Invocation to be by Commissioner Keller. Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Firstner. And we'll have a roll call. Please stand.
Heavenly Father, as we gather before you this evening, as always, we ask a blessing on our commission. Give them the wisdom to make the good decisions as we move our city forward. We ask a blessing on all of our citizens as they go through the summer vacation. Let them have fun, come back refreshed as they come back to the city for after those trips. We ask a blessing on all of our first responders as they go about their job keeping us safe. Please keep them safe, Lord. And finally, as always with our military, Lord, wherever they are in the world, keep them safe and bring them home to us. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Grogan?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson? Here. Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Keller?
Here.
All right. We have a presentation on school grades. Christine Moore, and I don't see Christine. So, did anybody get a call from her?
I don't know if she's thinking 7:15 is still the time to be here. So.
Well, we'll get to her later then. All right, we have a presentation of the District Commission Reclamation Report, Chairman Gregory Kiefer. We'll give a 15 minutes report. We're going to put a 15-minute thing on this thing here. So, go ahead, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Frank. Thanks for the opportunity to present this. I don't think it's going to take 15 minutes. So the background is, there's 5 members appointed by the commission, which you all did earlier this year. It's reestablished every 5 years under the city charter to keep citizens' votes weighted equally. The task is not exactly stated correctly here. The task is for us to recommend to you definition of the boundaries of the 4 voting districts within the city of Ocoee so that the populations of those districts are approximately equal, and the criteria is within 5%, and that's in the city charter. These are the commission members, and I'd like to highlight Mr. Lou Forges. He's probably gets the attendance award. I think he was at all of the meetings. At the first one, I missed the first one. I think I was in the hospital. And I'd like to thank, let's see, Mr. Hopper is here. I don't think any of the other members are here tonight. I'd also like to point out somebody very important to the commission was Mr. Michael Halloran, sitting right here, member of the staff. He is the person who did all the research necessary to support the task and then helped us work through the task with some software. So he's been very valuable to this. And of course, our legal advisor was Ms. Dana Crosby Collier. And as you know, we had one member didn't attend any of the meetings. There's some major constraints on this. These are the major constraints. These are not all of them, but legally, you can't move a commissioner out of his or her district in the process of doing this, and you're not supposed to establish or split up established neighborhoods. So those are 2 of the major legal constraints. Data, the last census was in 2010, so we didn't have current census data, but Mike was able to go back and using annexations and certificates of occupancy and other data, update the data from 2010 to today. So that was a very important step, and he did that. Some of the practical constraints are, the way this works is you're stuck with how the census creates these blocks, and sometimes those blocks are not in convenient places, and it's possible to work around them, but it's really very hands-on work, very time-consuming. Mike has to do that, so that's a constraint. It's also kind of tedious work. It's challenging to do it in a public forum where you sit around the dais here and do it. It's more the kind of work you'd like to roll up your sleeve and sit around a table, but we had to do it this way. So anyway, those are some of the constraints. This is what we started with. The top table shows the 4 districts back in 2010 after the redistricting commission back then looked at it. And you can see they leveled it out pretty well. The target was 8893 based on the population of 35,571 at the time. And as you can see on the right, the maximum deviation allowed is 5%, and you can see that they did a pretty good job there of getting pretty close to 0. I'd like to point out that for small numbers, for people on numbers under 100 there, on that deviation, it's kind of hard to move the boundaries and pick up small numbers of people like that without breaking up neighborhoods. So that's a pretty good job they did. When Mike updated that data to April 1st of this year, you can see the data there, population went up by about 5,000. So the ideal population in each district was 10,170. And if you study that chart for a minute, you'll see that districts 1 and 4 were already pretty close to that. But you can see that District 2 was about 9% under, 9 and some percent under, and District 3 was about 9 and some percent over. So those are the existing districts. That's the way the boundaries are drawn today. So really the challenge was simply to take the line from District 2 and move it into District 3 so as to get population out of District 3 and into District 2 and even them out. So those arrows and those little dotted lines show you what we did. And I'll go through that in a little bit more detail here for you. This is, I'm just going to start on the south of that picture there. The solid blue line at the top is where the line, the old or the current line is, say that. And the dotted line there on Blackwood Avenue is where we propose to do it, and that just takes it to the city limit there. And then, let me go to the next one. You can see that we moved the boundary here from East Orlando Avenue down south to Main Street. And then when you go up north, you can see that we moved it west from Bluford over to Kissimmee Avenue. And in the process of doing that, we made sure that we did not violate any of the constraints and kept all the neighborhoods intact and all that sort of thing. Yes, sir.
Back up
Sure.
to Bluford, up there where you come across from the school.
Uh-huh.
Are you taking that over to Cumberland Street?
I think it's Kissimmee Avenue and then Bay Street there.
So, what district is that?
That's District 2 on the right and District 3 on the left.
So, you're taking part of that neighborhood. I don't have a marker anymore.
Those neighborhoods right there in Bay Street, those are
I'm
out.
talking about here, back over in the Bluford, off of Bluford, where I live.
Do we have a plan?
District 2, according to this one.
No, he said he ain't busting up neighborhoods.
What he said, but what this...
He's busting it up if he does that.
I don't think so, sir. We double checked
you're
it.
taking- I wish you'd have brought those maps that they put up on the boards to put up where you can see them. That's what I'm talking about. If you, that line cuts in and goes over the bay is where I live in that neighborhood there. And you got the line divided down on the bottom part of that neighborhood, it's not even in it. So you are busting up a neighborhood. Go ahead and finish it, then we'll talk.
Well, we
about
looked
it.
at that
You are busting up a neighborhood.
We looked at that pretty hard, and we went back to the definition of neighborhood, or not neighborhood, but subdivision,
Well,
and it didn't meet the definition. So,
you mean I don't live in a subdivision?
well, I don't think I said that, but when we looked at that, we saw that that line went that way, and
No.
and so we looked at that, and we said that.
We used to have markers
It
here, I
was-
apologize, we used to have the little,
Yeah, we used to have those little...
where you could
Laser pointers?
be a lot easier, but I'm just telling you, we'll talk about it in a minute, because you are dividing that neighborhood.
Okay. I'll finish out then. So this gives you the bottom, the first two charts here are the ones I showed you before. The bottom one is the end result of those changes. And as you can see, that we are not as close as the commission was back in 2010, but we're we're under 1%. So that's pretty darn close, and like I said, it's kind of, when you start going in to get small numbers of people, then it's kind of hard to do. But anyway, that was our unanimous recommendation to you. And a little summary. One thing that we did not consider here is growth that is occurring since April 1, 2017. So if I might, I'll go back to this chart right here. If you look just south of Main Street there, that's where all that woods that you see there is right there to the west of the pond is where the Oasis Apartments are. And then just to the east of that is where City Center is going to be. And when those get completed, that'll be between the two of those, that'll be about 700 housing units, which translates to about 2,000 people. So in the very near term, District 3 is going to bump up by 2,000 again, right there. So we did not consider that. And then likewise in the north, the Arbors apartment complex is going to open up in District 1, and I forget the count on that, 350 units or something like that. Anyway, that'll be probably 900 or 1,000 people or so up there. So right off the bat, without leaning forward and looking at the growth in population that's going to take place here in the near future, these districts are going to get out of whack pretty quick. And there's other known near-term growth. I think you all know there's about 2,000 houses in the north and districts 1 and 4 that are going to be built in the next few years. So that'll throw it farther out. But then there's another commission scheduled for 5 years from now. There's also, one of the guidelines is that the districts should be rectangular. That's a guideline, that's not a hard requirement. And so I guess with a little imagination you can see that those are kind of rectangular, but it's possible to make them more rectangular and meet the requirements. I, in fact, on my own, generated a plan that did that, but the rest of the commission had no interest in pursuing that, so that died. Oops. So the bottom line is that the recommendation complies with the requirements of the city charter to include the requirement that neighborhoods not be broken up, and that was certified by the attorney that advised this. So with that, I'll open up the questions.
All right. You're right. Only took you 13 minutes, 12 minutes.
Did good.
All right.
I don't understand why you thought I'd go over it, man.
All right. Questions? Questions? If no questions? I got to look at I'd like to see that. Last time we had this, they brought them up on the hard cardboards.
Yeah, we decided not to do that because we thought it was pretty straightforward. I guess we guessed wrong on that.
Well, that's according to where those lines are there. I got to look at that where I can get, my eyes are not good enough to read that up there, so I need to look at it and see. I don't want to divide. I don't mind it changing to where it's at because I'm not going to affect me anyway, but I want to make sure it doesn't cut that neighborhood off in the middle or anything.
I might have
Robbie? Rob?
So what are you're looking to bring it down
Him.
south a little bit there, Mayor?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're not cutting that off in the middle of that neighborhood on Cumberland Street, are you? It has to come all the way down.
I don't think there's any families that live
No,
outside.
no, I'm
that
talking about
park.
on Washington Street.
Okay, where are we,
If it's not, it don't matter, but I'm talking about
Out
it.
here, Mike.
because right on the side there's no other homes that I
Right now,
know
moving
of.
them out, north side, this is Kissimmee Avenue.
Delaware?
This is Ohio Street here.
Delaware,
Is Delaware, the next one's
one
south?
down. Go from,
up.
go Orlando Avenue and go up across from the school.
This is Orlando.
Right, so go north, up.
the school? Okay, here it is. You're over.
Yeah.
over here. Yeah.
That's up there.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, I still think, yeah, go up, right there. Back down, that's it right there. Yeah, all of that in there, that's good.
I don't think there's any
No.
homes outside of that area.
No.
How
Did you
about
get
on
it
the
by
other side
Kissimmee?
of the street, though?
They're in those are out parcels, they're not a contiguous neighborhood,
They're
they're just individual.
county, incorporated,
No.
Where are
unincorporated
you
county?
where are you showing?
Why wouldn't you go straight
left
down,
Right,
Bluefield?
right there is what you're talking about, yeah.
It's like those are, yeah, if you drop
Are
that
they?
line south just a
Those might be unincorporated.
No, wait a minute, those, a minute, let me look again, who are we talking? You're talking on the other side of Ohio Street?
That's why you need the.
No, on the other side of Kissimmee Avenue.
I found one, Mayor, but it doesn't work.
The other side of
Need batteries.
Kissimmee Avenue.
Those houses are in the city.
Mike, point
Those
to,
houses are in the city.
where's he referring to,
Right
what
there.
pointer?
It's not off the Bay Street.
Yeah,
Those
so,
are in the city.
so this is the
All
south,
you gotta do is drop them down 3 or 4 houses, ain't gonna make a lot of difference in the numbers.
No, just include all those.
Yeah, you can't cut that off there.
yeah, we've got houses here and
Yeah,
houses.
you can't,
up
And
on
some,
you can't cut that out, you're doing a neighborhood there.
Won't work.
There's not that many there, it wouldn't offset it that much.
yeah, just
Well, if you say
incorporate them all into two.
If you stay continuous, I mean, going down Bluford Avenue has always been a cutoff.
No, but
One
we're talking
side-
about Bay Street.
Right, but I'm saying is that the one side,
You can't cut that either.
Yeah.
how many houses are in there? 'Cause
There's
see,
not that many people in there.
if you go
Yeah.
back to Bluford
Yeah.
and make a line straight
I-
down.
Why don't you continue straight?
Mike and I are remembering why we didn't do that, and it's because the census block is constructed that way, so we'd have to
Well-
break up the census block.
I don't wanna break up the houses.
You can't break up
Well-
a census block.
Well, we don't wanna tear it up, but we're not, I don't wanna fix it where there's a street. On one side of the street, the neighbors are voting for Joe, and the other side, they're voting for Susie, and they're all living in the same neighborhood. That to me is not a good thing, you know. Yeah, they live there. They live on, Bay Street goes to the end there, and there's people, you can see the houses. But we can look at it, but I'm just telling everybody up here.
Well,
Rich knows that's just dividing up people.
Well, let me ask Mike here to get that information to you, that magnified information to you about those houses there, and then you can give us any direction you please, and we're at your service
No, we appreciate that, but I'm just saying, that I've known from years ago when we divided neighborhoods up or something, and we're not supposed to, but that cuts that whole line in the middle there, that back side is cut out of it.
What would be the issue of staying directly on Bluford? I mean, it's just an idea. I appreciate the work you've done, because I think some of us have served on that board. It's not easy, but, and then taking the Oasis and putting it in District 2, because that's 301 apartments that haven't been, they're not finished yet. I'm just throwing that out.
It was too many. It was like, that's like almost 1,000 people.
301, are we 301 apartments to the Oasis? Does that sound about right?
You had about 3 people per house, so, and I think between Oasis, I think it's more than that, because between Oasis and City Center, it's 700 and some units.
Just take all that group over.
Well, they're
So
so
that-
far out from being, I mean, they're at this point of being out with City Center
Maybe a
being
tenth.
built.
Yeah, but I think the majority of that was Oasis, if I remember right. And
Okay.
it was about 350, I think. That's what that was. So it's about 1,000 people. So there's not 1,000 people that live in that little, we were trying to get the numbers down to 0. There's not 1,000 people that live in that little strip there. We did start to go down the road of saying, well, we could use that 5%. Since we know Oasis is gonna come in, we could make District 3, 5% smaller than the target, and District 2, 5% bigger than the target, and then when Oasis comes in, it'll help even it out. But the rest of the commission didn't want to do that, so we stopped there.
All right.
We didn't do that.
Well, we're not voting on that tonight anyway.
Yeah.
No, tonight, you can request they go back and look at things. We do have to, just keep in mind, it's a ways off, but we've got to approve this. The last day we could approve it would be the first meeting in November,
Oh,
which means the first reading would be the second meeting in October. So we've got a few months to do it, so if
Right.
you've got direction, now's the time to give it to the commission, so they can go back and kind of reevaluate and then come back and present
I
again.
guess, so that's two suggestions. I don't know if anybody else has
Well,
any.
Is there a reason why you didn't go straight down Blueford and just keep
There's
Purple
nothing
on the
that's-
right?
This area down here.
Is that unincorporated?
It's mostly, if you look here, there's not much population, it's all industrial area over here on the southeast, there where the 3 is, and up above that, there's hardly any population in there.
Well, I still think I can live with the other, because it don't matter to me on the, where district, anyway, but that part about dividing that neighborhood does bother me. So if we can straighten that one little bit of thing out there, it's only amounting to about 10 houses total in there, so we need to look at that. And then the other was what Rosemary, Commissioner Wilson asked about, and y'all can look at that or not, just like ours. So,
Well, he
you
did
get to
say-
keep working and earning that big money.
Well, yeah, we were gonna put in for a salary increase.
Well, you did say about the
We'll
cell
double
block, that you can't, that one cell that may make it too large.
Yeah, if you
Thing in the
throw the
census
Oasis
cell.
in there, it bumps it the other way. If you put that in District 2, then District 2 will be too big, and District 3 will be too small, and then District 3 isn't projected to have much growth, other than that right there, so.
Also,
Hey, Mike,
go on up to the,
Come on up, Mike.
go on up to the speaker.
We straightened that out right there. You had it at one time where it kind of angled over, and then we come back
No,
and
that was up
straighten
the
it
top,
out.
that was up the top, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was right there on base.
No, it was up the top, we straightened it out. Plant trees.
Yeah.
I mean, how big is a census block?
They vary.
Yeah.
It varies
I'm just
between,
telling you that.
it's just however the Census Bureau way back when came down and put blocks, and that's how they count. They go in there and that's how they count people.
And that block could be rather large based on the land that's not developed.
Could be very large, it could be, pretty small.
And so you got census coming out in 5 more years, so we really didn't want to mess. I mean, my thing was,
If you-
leave those
Yeah.
alone.
if you put,
Because you're going to get a good data coming up in 5 years. I'm not saying we don't have good data, but you're going to have census data that you could really do something constructive, a little bit more constructive.
all you gotta do is add that street back, just move it back to that other houses, because that front street that you got that starting on the front off of, Kissimmee, there's only 3 houses there, 3 houses. You move it back, and then you just add those 5 or 6
Sure.
houses in the
See,
back.
it's easy to do a plan that'll do that.
Yeah, I mean,
But the commission will have to meet again to make that recommendation to you, so
Yeah.
we'll set up a meeting and do that.
okay. So I guess, anybody else? That good for y'all?
No, other than that, a great job, because I sat on that committee before, and I know how difficult it is, especially work around the census blocks and everything else, so really, you guys did a fantastic job.
Okay.
Thank you.
One other comment I'd like to make, I think, I'm pretty confident the Charter Commission's gonna come in and recommend going to every 10 years on this rather than every 5. We're the only city in the county that does every 5 years. I'd just like to offer up that when the city's growing like it is, then in 10 years it can get, in 5 years it can get pretty out of whack. You saw already, right here, in only 5 years, how out of whack it got. And the growth is gonna be more rapid in the next 5 years. And of course, in 5 years, we'll have the census. But 5 years after that, how out of whack will it be? So I personally think it's good that the city is interested in keeping the citizens equally represented and doing that every 5 years. That's my opinion. And I don't think this is that expensive a project to do every 5 years, my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to take a 5-minute break. We had some problems with the TV thing, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
All right.
good.
Just copy it onto the desktop.
Oh, okay.
All right, meeting call back to order. We have comments from the citizens. We have anybody from the public want to make a comment? Mr. Menacke, come step on up to the podium.
R.P. Menacke, 1820 Clearwood Boulevard. I'm speaking up again about new city hall. Clarify what's wrong with this building.
We clarify that every time you come up here.
No.
Other than it's falling into
I've seen a few minor things that's been taken care of.
Hold on, Mr. Menacke. Steve Krug back at the back,
Maybe you could take him for a walk.
Public Works Director. Yeah. Can you come out and update Mr. Menacke real quick? And Christine, I apologize. We'll get to you next.
Educate me again.
Mr. Menacke.
All right, everybody listen up.
There's a geotechnical deficiency underneath the mayor's office, which is settled 6 inches. And even though at this point the building is not structurally deficient, if it keeps going, it will be. And we don't want to get to that point. We've made
After you
modifications.
take care of what problems you have now, you have taken care of them already.
No, we haven't. The building still settles.
Well, fix it when it's out.
There's only so much, you know, if the building's kind of like, we basically have a mini sinkhole that's going on underneath the building. At some point, it's going to.
Mayor's office.
Right underneath the mayor's
You
office.
get some specialists to clarify that, or?
Oh, yeah, we've had geotechnical consultants come in and do it. They've done borings. We've had 2 different structural engineering firms come and evaluate it. We've had other firms come and tell us, here's what we think could happen, and then they look at it and say, yeah,
Well, what's the worst thing that could happen?
The porch would sink and pull the
Whole building.
pull the roof off the front porch is the first. And then the trusses get pulled apart as it goes. So at some point, the building will be structurally deficient. It's safe now, but we know in, I figure a couple of years, we did a fix in 2014 that was buying us about 5 years. So that's about our
I
time.
just assume wait until it happens.
Well, if you wait until it happens, you won't have anywhere to go on every first and third Tuesday.
No, we're worried about that. It won't happen that quick.
I know we are not big on just building a new building for the sake of it. We're at the point where the repair is cost prohibitive.
Has there been a thought about having the public vote on it?
Well, in reality, they did, Mr. Menacke. We had open public discussions for over a year with the citizens coming to the public meetings to discuss what we were doing. And one of the top priorities out of all of it was City Hall was one of them.
Well,
So,
actually,
yeah, we did open it to the public.
I'm aware of that because I've been here. But, I mean, an actual vote, do we want a new city hall or fix up what we have? Or
Well-
combination both when it occurs?
You're gonna have to take it into confidence. Well, we took the advice of the citizens when we had that process. We went out and done what we had to do. We bonded money. It's included in that we've got to do. So that's part of the bond issue for the city hall. So that's already covered, and we're way past going back on it now. We're in the process of having, the other part of it is, Mr. Menacke, is the growth of the city of Ocoee, as we've talking about the district and things being spread out. Our city is going to go to 75 or 80,000 people in the next couple of years, 5 years or 10 years. And in that process, the city hall changes also. And the other major point of it is, we can move this building somewhere where it's more feasible to fit into downtown and make the downtown coordinate with everybody down in the area. And we also utilize this land for something that's more accessible for all citizens
These
on the
buildings
lake.
movable?
Yes, sir?
Did you say you move it?
Not this place.
No, not this one.
It'll move all right.
It's moving now.
It's gonna move
It's
the wrong
moving
way.
now. It's moving now.
I have to, listen, I have to tie a rope to me every day when I sit in my office. That's bad. Because some people try to put it around my neck.
I would still like to see a vote, where people actually go and,
I'll let you vote tonight. You slip a vote to me and I'll rest you.
no, I'm staying neutral because
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm just trying to get the evidence that we need it or not. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Mr. McKnight. Fill out that form. One more, I'm gonna let Mr. McKee do his talk, Christine. I'm going to have you tardy. You know, as a teacher representative, you shouldn't be tardy.
Good
Okay.
evening, Commissioners. How you doing? As your planning zoning chairman, I was trying to get my vice chairman Greg to do this, but he reneged and says I got to do it. So, at our last meeting, they took an advisement that we would change our time from 7 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. starting. With your permission, we will proceed with that and ask for you officially to make that change for us.
All right, so what you're wanting to do is change from 7 to 6:30?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that the challenge?
Is that in the code? The time set in the code?
According to what I'm told, all I have
Yes,
to do
it
is
Yes, it is.
address the...
So do we have to do the notification just like we did for us?
Yes, there would have to be a first reading and a second reading.
We'll have to
Yes.
do
So
the
we would
same
have to
thing
do
we
a staff
did.
report.
I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else got a problem with it?
No.
No, but, yeah, I just didn't assume that it was in something that we vote on, that they would make their own
No.
meeting, but
It's not in the code book, but there's an ordinance. There is an ordinance
there
that
is.
was passed that does, Dana and I looked into it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in our bylaws, but
Well,
It
what
is
we'll
in the
have to do is write the thing and do the first reading.
Get the first reading on the next.
When is the first reading? Next week?
Next meeting, yeah.
We'll have the first reading of the first meeting in August.
okay.
But
Then we'll
that-
start, they'll have to have the second reading in the middle of August, and then we'll go from, you probably start the first in September.
Yeah, probably
yeah, I was gonna
not.
say that probably the next meeting would probably still have to be your regular
Yeah.
time.
Oh, the next couple meetings, yeah, but thank you for your consideration and let us know when we can begin that.
Okay,
change.
all right.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
very much, appreciate it. All right, I apologize, we started earlier, and like I said, the school board member, that might have been our fault. Did we notify you our meeting's changed? So we're gonna have Christine Moore, the school board representative for our area, give us a little update on the school grades. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I just wanted to come tonight to give you, as the Mayor said, an update on school grades, and then I brought with me tonight Patty Harrelson, who is our new principal at Spring Lake Elementary School, and I also have a picture of the mural that we just completed that some of you have been hearing about. And so, as you can see on the grades, I put together the elementary and all the charter schools for you to take a look at. I know Citrus, we were only a point or two away from hitting an A, so that was really a great improvement. We had had several years where they were all Cs. And so, and Ocoee Elementary went from a D to a B, so that was really very good news. Prairie Lake moved up the grade level, and Spring Lake stayed where it was. And when you meet Mrs. Harrelson, I mean, I'm sure she'll reassure you that that grade's going to go up next year as well. You can see where the charter schools, the 4 charter schools that are in the city, have ended up as well. The middle school, which is not on here, ended up with an incomplete. It's sort of a technicality, and it should work out. And we're expecting probably a high B in there. The high school grades this year, it's an interesting phenomena. The state had really given a lot of points and weight to acceleration, and so the district has really been working long and hard to see our children in the middle school taking advanced math, algebra, geometry. And so we did a fantastic, in fact, we did so well, we were #1 in the state in terms of the success of our middle schoolers passing algebra. Unfortunately, then you took all the students, and they were taking these tests in middle school, and then it left the more struggling students in the high school, so our high school grades throughout the district dipped. And I'm hopeful that the state will go back and look at how they comprised that high school grade, because it sort of ended up a negative when really, you can't say, oh, we're going to hold our top kids back to get a better high school grade. You can't do that. I mean, we have to do what's best for children. So that was why you saw all the high school grades dip down a little bit. With that, I want to introduce to you, she's going to come on up, Patty Harrelson has had a tremendous amount of experience in Title I schools, and we're expecting great things out of her. And so she just wanted to say hello to you because she's joining us at Spring Lake.
Hello, good evening.
What's up, Christine?
You all right?
Oops, what you doing back there?
Now it's spelled over.
See, Mr. Menaki, this is why we gotta rearrange.
Yeah, that's the reason.
I appreciate you having me tonight. It's an honor to be here, and I am the proud principal of Spring Lake Elementary, excited to be in Ocoee. I grew up in Pine Hills, and I've lived in Winter Garden for the last 20 years or so. So very familiar with Ocoee area, lots of friends, and spent a lot of time here growing up. And I care about the area, and she's right. Spring Lake actually came up from a D to a C this year. And so there has been improvement. The staff is excited about that. The families are excited, but we're not stopping there for sure. We're going to keep that grade moving in the right direction and get it back where it needs to be. But we do celebrate the successes for this year, and I'm excited to partner with Ocoee in any way we can. We've had a lot of interest in sponsoring the school and bringing the community back in and getting parent involvement back where it needs to be. So I'm just excited to be here.
Appreciate it very much. I know our staff helped Christine out with getting that mural brought over from there.
Sure did.
Our
Yes,
recreation guys.
And I brought you a picture. I don't know if there's a way to put this up on the screen with the old Elmo, but it's not on my desk. But we commissioned a piece of art. We know how much our Spring Lake children love their Blue
Al,
Jays.
can you look that up? We'll see if
Can
he
you
can
do
do
it
that.
for me? Oh, that's wonderful.
I've seen it on Facebook. It looks beautiful, so.
Yeah, and so that was artist Lisa Mickler, who has done some other work for the district. We commissioned her to do this work, and we thank you for your staff for helping to transport the panels. When he gets it up there, you'll see the 3 panels. And so the theme of this really was based around the school mascot of the Blue Jays. And so there are over 40 birds in here. You're not going to be able to see them unless you come to the school. And my favorite, of course, is the bird sitting on the back of the little cow in the one corner. And that window was not painted in there. That's really in the hallway where the previous principal selected to have the art done. So we'll have a dedication. We'll be inviting you all this fall, working on planning some really exciting things. Been collecting sounds of birds, and so well, you can see the blue jay there. More blue jays there than anywhere else. Those are panels. The thought process went that 50 years when we build a new school, and hopefully it won't be sooner because it's not sinking. But anyway, that we wouldn't lose it if it was just a mural. So this was sort of a combination with the 3 panels, which could be moved. And then when we got into the project, it wasn't going to quite work to have the number of birds that we wanted, and so she needed to have some more space, so that's where I went. But that is actually, if you can back it up, that actually is Spring Lake. And so we went over and took a picture of Spring Lake, and you can get it any farther. It's so long. The wall is about 30 feet, I think, Mrs. Harrelson. There we go. That really is Spring Lake, and she painted off a picture. And so as we're preparing to put this on a sheet and a template for the kids to be able to recognize all the elements in there, if anyone has any history, any data, any abstracts, some title from previous owners, we're looking for some additional information on Spring Lake, the real lake. And so when I write the histories, I always try to tie the school with the community, and of course in this case it would be Spring Lake Elementary with Spring Lake, the real lake. So again, you're welcome to come over anytime. I'm sure she won't frisk you and do background checks. She'll let you come on in. We have a lot of security now. You have to buzz in, but wear your shirts, and I'm sure she'll treat you kindly, and you can just come take a look at it. Any questions for me while we're here?
Rosemary, you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear at a certain point. Did you say the middle school grades are still forthcoming?
Your middle school grade has been registered as an incomplete. We're expecting it to be a B at this point. So
A
that's
B?
why- yes.
And the high school,
Is
are
a
the-
C.
is a D.
C.
C. Well, that's even better. Just went from a D to a C when I spoke. Wonderful. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate the effort you put into those schools in the other area. I know some of them probably wondering about the other elementary schools and stuff we have. That's on the other districts side of
Oh,
town.
that's right. You know,
Yeah.
my world is District 7, but
I
I
know.
can tell you that Westbrook and Thornbrook were A's.
Okay.
And there's more complete information. I had that on that PowerPoint. The district has decided that really a single grade is not always the complete representation of what is going on in the school. So we have endeavored to put together a template that has a much fuller picture, and that is on the main page for OCPS if you would like any more
Yeah,
information.
I was impressed. I went to the end of the year graduation for Spring Lake again this year, and it's amazing to me some of the kids that are the straight A's, and a lot of the honor roll students are there. And then I went to the middle school afterwards to another one, and some of the kids I'd seen the year before receiving all the A's were at the Ocoee Middle School doing the same thing. So it's really good to see that. That school's been around a long time, and it's put out some great students, and we've had some great teachers there also. So
The
we
middle
appreciate
school
it.
has been high performing
Yeah.
probably for 20 years. They should
Yep.
be very proud of it.
All right.
And do you have any questions about the relief school? I could fill you in while I'm here. You had been in the 3-year plan for the relief elementary school out across from Ocoee High School on Crown Point, but the numbers aren't supporting it at the same because of the charter schools. So it's still, they're still looking at it annually. It could be a little bit longer before that school is triggered.
Well, I'd ask one more question. The other one is the middle school. When are we getting the middle school to go with the north side?
Ingram Road,
Yeah.
I don't even think it's on the 10-year plan. I can check on that for you specifically, but it's definitely not in the queue at this point.
We don't. Huh? You got Rosemary as Commissioner
One more.
Wilson.
Have you noticed with the attendance at, let's just say, Hackney Prairie, is
The
with
enrollment?
the
Yes.
enrollment versus with the charter school
Yes.
going in, have you seen a drastic change in any of the schools that are surrounding the charter schools that have opened up?
I followed it pretty closely. You lost about 150 from Prairie Lake, and I think
Prairie Lake, I'm sorry.
20 maybe at the most. You know, when you look at charter schools, they'll draw from 30 or 40 schools, and they don't always just grab from that neighborhood school. But when I did look at it on a map, Commissioner Wilson, it was primarily students from over in the Weston Bay area that were not choosing to go to Prairie Lake that were at Renaissance Charter.
And when you have a charter school, let's say that's not meeting the grade, what's the plan for how many years can they not, that this is a problem that this county looks in at this point?
Well, it's all by state statute, and so it's a double F, and we actually had to close one. They voluntarily closed. So it is until they reach that threshold of a double F. Now, the legislature, you probably heard about that controversial Bill 7069, I've got it memorized. And so in terms of traditional schools, if we hit three consecutive years of a D or an F, then that triggers this whole process where a charter school is to come in within 5 miles of that troubled school. And so I have one right now that's a double D over in Lockhart that I'm very concerned about. And so I will be putting a lot of attention over there. But you're not looking at that anywhere in Ocoee.
Well, no, I don't see that from the grades, but I just wonder what the
Right.
procedure is.
So charter schools, it's a double F. A traditional school by statute be triple D, triple F, and then it would trigger a charter.
Thank you, Christie.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right. No more comments from the public. We're going to move to the staff reports and agenda review.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right. Go to the commissioner's announcement. Commissioner Keller.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Commissioner Firstman.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, just wanted to make the announcement that on July 25th, which is next Tuesday at 5:30, we will be having a town hall meeting in this room regarding the zip code issue. Our lobbyist will be here making a presentation along with 25th at 5:30 here in Commission Chambers. Our lobbyist will be presenting, for anyone who'd like to attend, but if you are also someone that does not have an Ocoee zip code and you live in the city limits of Ocoee, we have been working on this issue, trying to get this corrected with the Postal Service. And we have a lobbyist that's working on this. So if anyone would like to come for the presentation, it will be 5:30 on July 25th, which is next Tuesday, right here in the Commission chambers. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Grogan?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
All right, a couple of things here. Public hearing has been held by the Charter Review Commission tomorrow, July the 19th at 6:30 PM here in City Hall. The public meeting has been held for the purpose of obtaining public input regarding possible changes to the charter of the City of Ocoee as required by the city charter. Revisions are considered every 10 years, and your input is important. All right, the Code Enforcement Board currently has 5 vacancies, and we need somebody to serve on that. Any volunteers? We furnish plastic raincoats for serving on the Code Enforcement Board.
Will the tomatoes start flying? They haven't, really, they haven't.
No. Food truck and movie in the park is this Friday, July the 21st, from 6 to 9. The movie is the Lego Batman movie. Movie starts at 8:30. Also on Friday will be free tours of the historic Withers McGuire House from 6 through 8:30. Community grant applications, deadline is Friday, July the 28th. The City of Ocoee Community Grant Program is one way for the city to acknowledge the value and the excellence of our local community, nonprofit organizations, and the individuals who make these groups successful. The Community Grant Program provides financial grants up to $500. All right, consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve consent agenda made by Commissioner Keller, seconded by Commissioner Firster. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving along. All right, public hearing, number 12, Health Central Skilled Nursing Facility, large-scale preliminary and final site plan. Planner Ruber.
For the record, Mike Rimmer, City Planner. This is the preliminary and final site plan for the Health Central Skilled Nursing Facility. The property is located on within the Health Central campus. This property is going to be accessed through the extension of the road north on Hempel Drive. So the area of the addition is highlighted. Just for reference, the Health Central, the UF Shands Cancer Center is going to be located on this plot of land up here on Colonial Drive. But this is the 4-story Health Central Skilled Nursing Facility. It will be accessed through this Health Central Center Drive. Again, this is the preliminary and final site plan. So the next phase from this is construction of the facility. The footprint is, the property has a drop in elevation. It is 4 stories. You will see in 3 stories in the elevation because of the drop of the land. There's parking, there's internal access, there's also pedestrian access to, this is the parking lot, the existing parking lot of the hospital. The use is memory care, skilled nursing, some acute outpatient areas. There's going to be on the back side, this is access for service areas. This is the front drop off. And I think I've got a plan. This is a better plan showing the landscaping. You can see this ring of fencing. That is going to be the area where the memory care facility is sort of kept to. The applicant is here to discuss any questions. The DRC is recommending approval. It meets the Land Development Code. It meets our engineering standards, as does the Planning and Zoning Commission. So the size of the property is 3.67 acres of the campus area. The zoning is R3 multifamily, which allows the memory care facility and the other points of interest on the project. It's 4 stories. It's 90,000 square feet overall. You can see there's 31,000 square feet memory care. There's 25,000 square feet of hospice, skilled nursing, administrative, and outpatient therapy, post-acute rehab care, and it's all going to be constructed in one phase. Looking forward to the project. Any questions?
What's the cost, Mike, as part of it?
I do not know. That's a good question. We'll let you open the public hearing. Since the mayor's off, you need to open the public hearing.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing.
Anybody in the public want to make any comments on item 12, Health Central Skilled Nursing Facility? If not, we'll move it back to the podium for comments from the commissioners or a motion.
Do we make a motion, or we need to, you gonna make that one?
We're approving the site plan.
Believe me,
So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
motion made to approve by Commissioner Keller, seconded by Commissioner Grover. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Anybody, you're next too, Mike?
I'm not the next one.
No. All right, first reading of ordinance is to repeal Chapter 4 Design Bill Contracts and amend Chapter 21 Purchasing Policy. Purchasing agent total.
This would be an ordinance to repeal Chapter 4 Design Build Contracts and add some of that language into Chapter 21 for updates that haven't been done since 1995. So the public hearing is scheduled for August 1st.
Okay. All right. You gonna read something?
I'm going to read the ordinance. Is that all right?
All right, yeah, he's going to read the ordinance, and then after that, we'll bring this back for the second reading on August the 1st, the regular consent agenda, the regular commission meeting.
This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, repealing Chapter 4 Design Build Contracts and amending Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ocoee regarding the city's purchasing policy, amending and restating exemptions, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing an effective date.
All right, so as I said, it'll be back on August the 1st. Thanks, Mr. Tolbert. Number 14, second reading of ordinance, public hearing. Second reading of ordinance for the State Road 429 Overlay District. City Planner Ruber.
The item before you tonight is a second reading of an ordinance creating an overlay on the State Road 429 corridor. The overlay creates three different character areas. The overlay is a culmination of the work done under the tri-party agreement with Apopka and Winter Garden Ocoee several years ago where he studied the West Orange County. That study lended itself to the 429 study, which lended itself to the downtown master plan and now to the 429 overlay. So the item tonight is an ordinance putting an overlay in the land development code similar to our CRA development plan in the target areas that created target area 1 at the corner of McGuire Road, State Road 50, target area 2 where the city center, West Orange development, and target area 3 where the Health Central campus is. The City of Ocoee, along with the City of Winter Garden, had a consultant, GAI Consultants, that worked on a vision for the 429 based off the previous studies. So we looked at the corridor and we studied it. We had public input. We met with property owners and we looked at three distinct areas, or type of visions. We have the Plant Street area, which we share with Winter Garden. We're calling it a gateway corridor. It's where the 429 accesses Plant Street. We have the West Road interchange at the 429. And then we have the area north and south of Plant that has some industrial land uses we're calling a business center. What this 429 overlay does is it provides design principles for the character area. So a developer doesn't have to go through a PUD, a plan unit development process. It provides the same criteria whether you're in the City of Ocoee or City of Winter Garden. It has specific district standards, very similar document to what the downtown master plan did as a vision. This takes it to the next step on the 429, and we're actually adopting these criteria as a zoning condition over the properties. It helps, so we have replication of development that's going to create jobs in our corridor. It drives good development along the 429, which now connects to Seminole County, Volusia County, Lake County with the Wekiva Parkway extension. Within this process, we're going to have a coordinated effort for economic development along the 429 and continuing the bi-city partnership with the Winter Garden, City Winter Garden. City Winter Garden adopted the very same pattern book. We have, where we jointly have more of a retail office look, where we're calling it the Gateway District. They do extend theirs down to their traditional downtown. There's items in here, pattern books, to give developers an idea of what we're looking for to drive good development. It's not just all office and retail. There is provision for ratios of appropriate residential when you reach a good threshold of retail and office and industrial use. The business center, the Park at 429 is located within the business center properties within the business center target area. You can see, so this kind of takes Ocoee Apopka Road up to south of Crown Point Woods, and this brings up a good question. I had a phone call from a resident that may be in the audience today. The only properties this ordinance affects are properties located within the city of Ocoee. If your property is in unincorporated Orange County, it does not affect that property until such time as we receive a voluntary annexation for a development. So we have there's some properties in here that are in the county, but this is the business center, and we want this area to be able to develop as a place for corporate offices, appropriate light industrial that's going to bring jobs to the area, jobs and people that will then come down and patronize our downtown. So there's ideas, there's different principles laid out in the book. It's an open book. Anybody can find it online, find it on Unicodes. This ordinance sets it up as a zoning criteria. And then the third interchange is the West Road, sort of the vacant area. All of these properties are pretty much spoken for. There's a few vacant, but really the development is almost at its maximum potential. So this just provides good development form, good principles and standards in order to drive and receive good development, not development that's just based off the existing land use that we necessarily just follow traditional codes. We expect all types of development here. This is not runoff development. It lets a development pattern happen. It creates a good building, so you really don't have to worry as much about what the building is, what the business is in the building. You're going to have good transportation, connectivity, multi-mobility, good design standards, opportunities for people to see a vision to accumulate more land and make a development that will meet their pro forma. The City of Winter Garden has already adopted the ordinance establishing the jurisdiction on their side, and I've just got some more examples of kind of showing how we place buildings. Very similar to what we're going to come back and adopt in our downtown. With our downtown master plan, we did not adopt the standards yet. You guys just approved the vision plan and the implementation, which we did through the bonding measure. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
All right. Anybody want to ask any questions?
And then
Mike.
Scott will need to read the ordinance. Yes.
When this ordinance is approved, does that mean that the moratorium will be lifted and
Yes.
will be guided by these principles?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question.
All right. Anybody else?
No questions.
No, after lawyer's going to read the
This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, relating to amending the Ocoee Land Development Code, Chapter 180 of the City Code, creating a new Section 5-3.1C4, establishing and describing the State Road 429 overlay area comprised of the Plant Street Character Area Design Plan, which includes the Gateway District, the Business Center Character Area Design Plan, and the Interchange Village Character Area Design Plan. Creating a new Section 5-3.4, establishing criteria for the State Road 429 Overlay Area Special Development Plan. Establishing geographic boundaries of the Plant Street Character Area Design Plan, the Business Center Character Area Design Plan, and the Interchange Character Area Design Plan. I'm sorry, hold on. Lost my place. In the interchange village character area design plan, requiring compliance with the special development plan, excluding applicable lands, applicability to the lands located in unincorporated Orange County, providing that the special development plan is supplemental to other provisions of the Land Development Code, providing that underlying zoning uses and land use entitlements remain in place, prohibiting certain specific uses within the special overlay area that may be otherwise permitted under applicable zoning regulations, providing that the City Commission decisions are final, providing for the recognition of existing agreements, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing an effective date.
All right, thanks. We're going to open it up for the public. Anybody in the public have any comments pertaining to the ordinance for State Board 429? If not, we'll move it back to the podium and ask anybody up here to have any comments. Oh, one, I'm sorry, apologize, back up.
Good evening. My name is Tara Tedder. I'm an attorney from Lounge Drosdick, 215 North Eola Drive, here on behalf of Ocoee Business Park. My client is Dr. Bruce Gordy, and we had spoken previously at the Winter Garden hearing on their overlay district standards because we noted, and I think it appears in some of the design plans contemplated under these new district standards, that there may be roadways proposed across my client's property near State Road 429. I know those are contemplated roadways, but of course those are over private property, and so we just wanted to put on the record that any roadways that have not been agreed to by my client with the city, of course, would not be roadways that we are agreeable to, even though they appear to be designed in those plans. We would also take objection if there were any removal of approved industrial uses on his parcels currently zoned for industrial uses, and that specific parcel number is 18222800000026.
Anybody have any comment? Mike? Anybody?
No, the definition of light industrial, the zoning criteria for light industrial, stays true, so it's just.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Did you fill out a form, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Anybody else in the public have any comments pertaining to this issue? All right. We'll close that public hearing and bring it back to the podium. Anybody up here have any more comments? I will make a couple comments that I think the staff working on this, with Winter Garden working on this, has come up with a great solution. I think it's an outstanding plan. I think our planner, Mike Roomer, and our assistant city manager, Craig Shedrick, for dealing with this issue and with Winter Garden. I think it's going to be a great aisleway into both our towns. All right. Anybody make a motion here?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Grogan, seconded by Commissioner Firstner. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Well, we're down to regular agenda, none. Any more staff action?
No, sir. Nothing this evening.
Comments from commissioners. Commissioner Grogan.
Yes, I have one. The Ocoee Police Department, along with 103.1 Wolf, is going to be putting on a benefit poker tournament to benefit the annual toy drive. It's going to be July 21st. I believe that's this Friday night. It's going to be held at the Women's Club, and that's 4 North Lakewood Ave. It's at 5 o'clock, starting time's at 6. And hope to see you all there.
Commissioner Wilson.
Just a reminder, July 25th, 5:30, zip code issue speaking with our lobbyist here in the chamber at 5:30 on the 25th, which is next Tuesday. Thank you.
Commissioner Firstner.
Budget workshops are coming up. They'll be on August 10th and 14th at 6 p.m. with the budget hearings in September on the 6th and the 18th. Open to the public. Please come down and participate. We'd love to hear from you.
Commissioner Keller.
Just one, I want to, and Mayor, I'm hopefully not stealing your thunder, but I want to welcome the small cities. For those of you who don't know, the mayor is the president of the small cities for the National League of Cities, And this week, they are in town, and the mayor will be running the meetings, and we look forward to some really good stuff there. So congratulations to you, and welcome to all of the visiting commissioners and mayors.
Thanks, Commissioner Keller. I'm going to make sure all the commissioners know they got their, did you get copies of the schedule where you can show up? I want to thank our staff for helping put this on. Staff pretty much got it organized and put it together, and especially Sherry Seaver. She's been a great participant in helping put this together with Craig Shadrick and Rob and all the staff. So I want to thank you very much, and I think it's going to be an interesting thing. We have different people from all over the United States that'll be here with small cities, which is 50,000 or less. And there's, if most people don't know, the whole United States is about 80% small cities and 20% large cities. So it represents a big part of the country. So we're looking forward to it. There's going to be some great discussions. If any of you feel like you want to drop by and listen to some of it, you feel free to come. It'll be in the Lakeshore Center. We start tomorrow at 11:45, and we go till Friday afternoon. So a couple things here, Steve. I know we've had vacations and you've been gone, so this gentleman on Ingram Road does not let me forget. He keeps sending me emails, and we talked about this about 6 weeks ago, about checking for the lights on Ingram Road.
We, I put a figure into the budget right now for lighting on Ingram and a couple other places until I get some solid numbers from Duke, but we are preparing to take care of that.
All right, we're working on getting the lights for that.
Yes, it'll have to be incorporated into the budget for next year.
Right,
But
okay.
We've got some figures.
All right, that's Commissioner Keller, remember that.
Yep. Well, we'll be looking.
Oh, don't go nowhere.
We'll be looking for it.
Steve, don't go nowhere yet.
We will be
Lights
looking
on McGuire Road. From where the end of that shopping center there are the apartments that went in, back down towards Windermere on the end of Windsor Landing, there's no lights. Now, the poles are on the county side where Belmere is, but there's poles there. We have no lights for that area.
I'll look into that too.
All right. All right. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? No more comments. Once again, appreciate everybody coming out. Oh, real quick, before I hit that, say it. I want to say, I caught the gavel just the first time. I had to hit it twice. The people are, the company that's going to be doing our city hall, Mr. Menacke, are here. So I don't know if you know, we passed that on the consent agenda. So I'd like to ask you a couple questions before you leave. So, but not now. I'll get them after the meeting. But so we're glad to have you here, and let's get started. Meeting adjourned.